Welcome children. Today my topic is Coulomb's law in electrostatics. In the last video we studied about properties of charges and different methods of electrification, and today we are going to study about Coulomb's law. This is a very important law in electrostatics. So this mainly gives a formula for force between two stationary point charges. Suppose I am taking two stationary point charges. Q1 and Q2 are two stationary point charges. So point charge means, suppose if the mass of charge is very less compared to the distance between the charges, then we can assume that these charges are point charges. Clear? The mass is very small compared to the distance between the charges. And suppose I am taking two point charges Q1 and Q2, and distance between the charges I am taking is R. So R is the distance between the charges. Then this Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion. Suppose if I am keeping one positive and positive means there may be repulsion here. And if there is negative and negative means then also there may be repulsion. But suppose I am keeping positive and negative means there may be attractive force. So anyway there may be force of attraction or force of repulsion. So anyway, this force of attraction or repulsion between these two stationary point charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between the charges. That means whenever charge quantity, magnitude of charge is increasing, force also will increase. And similarly, whenever distance between the charges are increasing, force will decrease. So whenever distance is less means force will be more. So this Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between two stationary point charges is directly proportional to product of the charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between the charges. And together we can write as F is proportional to Q1 Q2 divided by R square, and we can remove this proportion sign by multiplying by a constant. So we can write as F equals K into Q1 Q2 divided by R square. So here K is a proportionality constant. So here K is a proportionality constant. Proportionality constant. So once again, Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between two stationary point charges is directly proportional to product of the charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between the charges. That means whenever magnitude of charge is increasing, force also will increase, and whenever distance between the charges decreases, then also force will increase. So together we can write as F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square, or we can write F equals K into Q1 Q2 by R square, where K is the proportionality constant and its value of K is So this value of K can be written as K equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, and the numerical value of this K is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So I told you here K is a proportionality constant and its value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And here 4 and pi we know, two constants. Then this epsilon 0 is another one constant called as permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. That means it is the ability of vacuum to transmit electric field. The ability of vacuum to transmit electric field is called as which one? Permittivity of free space. The symbol is epsilon 0. And this epsilon 0 is having another one constant value. So epsilon 0 value is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. That is, this unit may be The inverse of which one? The unit of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. They take the reciprocal of this one. You will be getting this. So here Newton meter square per coulomb square, and here coulomb raised to minus 2 becomes coulomb raised to plus 2. And here Newton raised to minus 1. Here it is Newton raised to plus 1. Here meter square means here meter raised to minus 2. Just opposite, reverse. Reverse of the unit of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Okay. Now, how we are getting this unit I will tell you. So we have the formula F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. And I want to know the value of this, which one? I want to know the unit of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Okay, so I am taking 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 on the left hand side. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 equals cross multiplying F into R square. F into R square divided by Q1 Q2. So I am taking the unit of each term. Unit of force is Newton. Unit of distance is meter. So distance square means meter square. Then unit of charge is coulomb. So here also charge. So coulomb into coulomb is coulomb square. It comes to the denominator. So when I am taking the numerator, it becomes coulomb raised to minus 2. So this is the unit of which one? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Newton meter square per coulomb square. Okay, and its value is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. Okay. Similarly, I told you epsilon 0 value is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. So how we are getting this unit is, see here 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. I am taking the reciprocal. I will be getting 4 pi epsilon 0. Take the reciprocal. And this unit also we can take reciprocal. So it becomes Newton raised to minus 1, meter raised to minus 2 and coulomb square. That means coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay, this is a unit of 4 pi epsilon 0. But we know 4 and pi does not have any unit. So they are simply constants. So this epsilon 0 unit is now which one? Coulomb square per Newton meter square. That will I have written writing here. So coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay. So this much about Coulomb's law. So this Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between two stationary point charge is proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between the charges. Now we have the Coulomb force as F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Suppose I am taking Q1 equals Q2 equals 1 coulomb. The charge is 1 coulomb and R equals distance also becomes 1 meter. Then what about this formula? F becomes electrostatic force. F is taken as electrostatic force between the charges. So F can be taken as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into, here 1 into 1 divided by 1 is 1 only. That is equivalent to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And what is the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0? 9 into 10 raised to 9. And what is the unit of force? Newton. Okay. So we got now as F equals 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. So from this, how will you define 1 coulomb? So from here we can define 1 coulomb. So 1 coulomb is the charge. See here. So I am taking two charges. Q1, Q2. And distance between these two charges I am taking as R equals 1 meter. Distance is 1 meter and each charge is how much? 1 coulomb. So here also charge is how much? 1 coulomb. Okay, so from here I am explaining, I am defining what is 1 coulomb. So 1 coulomb is the charge which when placed at a distance of 1 meter from a similar charge produces a force of repulsion of how much? 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. Here, so once again 1 coulomb is defined as the charge which when placed at a distance of 1 meter from a similar charge produces a force of repulsion of 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. So repulsion means here both the charges I am taking as positive charge. So both are positive means the force may be a repulsive force. So thereby we can define 1 coulomb. Okay. Now in free space we can write this Coulomb's law as F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. This is in free space. So epsilon 0 indicates permittivity of free space. So here Coulomb's law, when we are saying no, we are actually saying the charges we are placed in free space. So free space means we are putting here epsilon 0. Suppose if you are placing these charges in any media, suppose in water or in any other media, suppose if you are placing the charges means at that time the force can be given as, I am taking Fm. Fm means in a medium. Suppose we are keeping the charges in any other media. Okay, any other media. This is in free space. So this is the formula for force in free space. Suppose in any other media, we can write as 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Instead of epsilon 0, I am writing here epsilon into Q1, Q2 divided by R square. This is in any media. In a medium. Okay. And here epsilon is called as permittivity of the medium. Permittivity of the medium. So whichever medium we are taking, and that medium's permittivity is taken as which one? Epsilon. So I told you epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space, that is the ability of vacuum to transmit electric field. So epsilon means permittivity of medium, that means the ability of the medium, whichever medium we are taking, the ability of the medium to transmit electric field. Okay. Now suppose I am dividing these two. So in vacuum, force in vacuum divided by force in a medium. F by Fm equals, so here 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 Q2 divided by R square, the whole divided by here 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 divided by R square. This terms will be cancelling. 1 by 4 pi also will cancel. Remaining here epsilon 0, here epsilon, and this epsilon will be going in the numerator, taking the reciprocal. So this we will be getting as epsilon by epsilon 0. Epsilon by epsilon 0, and this ratio epsilon by epsilon 0 is called as another one term epsilon r, and this epsilon r is called as relative permittivity. Relative permittivity. Relative permittivity of the medium. So epsilon r means relative permittivity, that is equivalent to epsilon divided by epsilon 0. That means relative permittivity is the ratio of permittivity of the medium to permittivity in free space. So epsilon r equals epsilon by epsilon 0, and there is another one name for relative permittivity called as dielectric constant. So another name is dielectric constant. So we got as F by Fm equals epsilon by epsilon 0 equals which one? Epsilon r, and this epsilon r is called as relative permittivity, or another one name is dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. So this relative permittivity or dielectric constant is simply a ratio. It is a ratio of permittivity of medium to permittivity of free space. So it does not have any unit. So epsilon r does not have any unit. No unit is there since it is a ratio. So both are having same unit. So it will be cancelling each other. So since it is a ratio, it does not have any unit. So now I got as F by Fm. F by Fm can be written as so F by Fm equals epsilon r, or from this we can write Fm equals 1 by epsilon r into F. So what is the meaning from this one? That is the electrostatic force in any medium is equal to 1 by epsilon r times the force in air or vacuum. Okay, that means force will be decreasing. So whenever we are placing the charges in any media, the electrostatic force will decrease. By which amount? 1 by epsilon r times it may be decreasing. So this is the force in vacuum, okay, or free space, and this is the force in any media. So in any media, force becomes 1 by epsilon r times force in as a free space of air. Okay, that means force will be decreasing. Okay, so whenever a medium is kept between the two stationary charges, the force between the two charges will be decreasing. Okay, but in free space it may be larger. Next one is Coulomb's law in vector form. In vector form, so consider two charges Q1 and Q2. Q1 and Q2. Okay. Suppose the distance between the charges is taken as R. And I told you, whenever we are placing two charges in free space or in any other media, there may be electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges. Okay. So anyway, this charge Q1 will exert a force on Q2. Similarly, charge Q2 also will exert a force on Q1. So first of all, I am taking F12. That is the force exerted on charge Q1 due to Q2. That means Q2 is exerting a force on Q1. That is taken as F12. The direction may be like this. F12. The force exerted on Q1 due to Q2. Similarly, F21 means it is the force exerted on charge Q2. This force exerting on charge Q2 due to Q1. That is in the direction this one. So F21. So both the charges will be exerting force in opposite directions. Clear? So first of all, I am writing the formula for F12. That is equivalent to, we can write the Coulomb's law. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into the product of the charges Q1, Q2 divided by distance square. We know the distances are, but here the charge, the force is exerting on Q1 due to which one? Q2. So Q2 is exerting force. So distance I am taking from Q2 to Q1. So that means I am taking as R21. Distance from charge 2 to charge 1, because this charge Q2 is exerting force here. Okay. Into, since it is in vector form, I have to multiply another one unit vector also here. Unit vector R21. And this unit vector indicates the direction of force acting. It is acting from where to where? From Q2 to Q1. And its magnitude is 1. The magnitude of unit vector is taken as 1. So direction is given by from Q2 to Q1. Similarly, we can write which one? For F21, that is force exerted on Q2 due to Q1. That is, the direction may be in the opposite, this direction. So it can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by R12 square. That means from here to here, R12 square into unit vector R12. And this unit vector R12 indicates the direction of force. That is from charge Q1 to Q2, and the magnitude of this unit charge is 1. Okay. Now, this, what about the direction? I told you R21. R21 is just opposite direction of which one? R12. So we can write as R12 equals minus R21. R21 is equal to minus R12. Both are in opposite direction. So both are in opposite direction means what about the forces? They also will be in opposite direction. So we can write as F12 equals minus vector F21. So both magnitude of forces are same only, but the direction is opposite. That means it obeys which law now? Newton's third law. So it obeys Newton's third law. For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, that means both the forces are in same magnitude. Amount is same only, but what about the direction? In opposite direction. For each and every reaction, there must be an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so this Coulomb's law is obeying which one? Newton's third law. So this is the vector form of which one? Coulomb's law. Okay. Then what are the properties or characteristics of this Coulomb's law? First one, it obeys inverse square law. It obeys inverse square law. I told you F is here proportional to 1 by r square. So it is proportional to 1 by r square. So it is obeying inverse square law. Second one, it is a central force. This Coulomb force is central force because it acts along the centers of two charges. It acts along the line joining the centers of two stationary charges. So it is a central force. Then third one, it is applicable only for point charges. It is applicable only for point charges. Point charges. That is, if the masses of the charges are very less compared to the distance between the charges, then only we can apply which one? Coulomb's law. Then only we can consider the charges point charges. So then only we can apply this Coulomb's law. Then fourth one, it obeys which one? Newton's third law. It obeys Newton's third law. Newton's third law. For every reaction there is an equal and opposite reaction. I told you vector F12 equals minus vector F21. Okay. Then it is also considered as a conservative force. Conservative force, that means it depends only on the initial point as well as the final point, does not depend on the path. So it is considered as conservative force. Okay. So these are the properties of which one? Coulomb's law. It is obeys inverse square law. It is a central force as well as it is applicable only for point charges. It obeys Newton's third law. Then it is a conservative force. Then what is the comparison between electrostatic force and gravitational force? So we know electrostatic force is given as Fe equals K into Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Electrostatic force or Coulomb's law. Then gravitational force Fg equals G into M1 M2 divided by R square. So here both the forces are proportional to 1 by R square. That means both the forces obey which one? Inverse square law. So both electrostatic force as well as gravitational force obey inverse square law. Inverse square law. And when we are comparing this electrostatic force and gravitational force, so we will be getting Fe, electrostatic force, is equivalent to 10 raised to 39 times which one? Gravitational force. Because gravitational force is the very weakest force. So this electrostatic force is somewhat stronger only. So Fe equals 10 raised to 39 times gravitational force. Clear? Now next we can go for superposition principle. That is, the force acting on any one charge due to a number of charges can be written as the vector sum of all the forces acting on that charge due to other charges. Okay. So the vector sum, that is force acting on any one charge due to a number of charges, can be written as the vector sum of all the forces acting on that particular charge. Suppose I am taking so many charges like Q1, Q2, Q3, etc., Qn. Then the total force acting on this charge Q1 will be the vector sum of all the forces acting on this charge due to other charges. We have to take the vector sum of each forces, and that total sum will give the force acting on the charge Q1. This is given by which one? Superposition principle. Suppose I am taking the charges like this. I am distributing the charges. First Q1. Suppose here Q2 charge, Q3, Q4, and like that. Last one I am taking is Qn. So many charges are there. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, etc. Qn. So many charges are there, and I have to find the total force acting on this charge Q1 due to all other charges. This can be done using which principle? Superposition principle. That means we have to take the vector sum of all the forces. Okay. So first I am taking the force acting on charge Q1 due to Q2. that is F12. F12 is the force acting on charge Q1 due to Q2. That is in this direction. Clear? We can write as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by what is the direction from 2 to 1, because Q2 is exerting force on Q1. So R21 square into unit vector R21. And this indicates the direction of force, that is from 2 to 1. Similarly, I am writing F13. That is the force acting on charge Q1 due to Q3. It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q3 divided by R31 square into unit vector R31. That is in the direction Q3 to Q1. Okay. Similarly, etc. Last one I am taking F1n. That is n the charge. Q1 is exerting force on Q1. That is equivalent to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Qn divided by Rn1 square into unit vector Rn1 in this direction Qn to Q1. Okay. So according to superposition principle, what we have to do? We have to take the vector sum of all these forces. Clear? So next I am taking the vector sum. So total force acting on charge Q1 can be written as F1 equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square into unit vector R21 plus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q3 divided by R31 square into unit vector R31 plus etc. plus last one is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Qn divided by Rn1 square into unit vector Rn1. Okay. So like this writing is very difficult. So we can write in sigma form or summation. Okay. So we can write now as vector F1 equals, okay, and common terms we can take outside. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is common. Q1 also common. So Q1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into remaining we can put in sigma summation. Sigma, here variable is which one? Here 2, here 3, etc. It is going as n. First term is common only Q1. Very Q1, that is taken outside. So here variable is 2, 3 like that till n. So we can write as I is the variable here. I equals starting number is 2 to which one? N. 2 to n, and instead of Q2 I am writing as Qi divided by R. Instead of again 2 I am putting as I1 square into unit vector Ri1. Okay. For the second charge we can write as which one? Q2 divided by R21 square into unit vector R21. Similarly for third one we can write as Q3 divided by R31 square into unit vector R31. Like that nth one means Qn divided by Rn1 square into unit vector Rn1. So this will give the total force acting on which one? On the charge Q1 due to all other charges. Okay. This is given by superposition principle. Okay. So remaining portions we can study on the next video.